Hi there. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine. I'm going to do a little visit today. I got to change my card to April. Yay! And we've got a beautiful sunny day up here. Um, it's so nice outside. My husband was out working in the yard, which he's always happy to do. And of course, he had to hold his breath a couple of times when, when the children in the yard across from us started trying to climb on top of the roof of the shed again. I'm going to try and get a photo of that so I can show you what's making us have heart failure over here. Anyhow, it's such a nice day out there today. Today, I've decided that I'm just going to make believe in my head that everything's fine. And just for one day, this little bubble that we're living in here at the house just happens to be a day that we're spending together at home. Um, but I do have I have a Corona confession for today. And my confession is that hubby and I are slowly turning into, no, actually very quickly turning into Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner. I don't know if any of you have watched Seinfeld's series Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. If you do, or even if you haven't, check out his episode where he goes to visit, have dinner with Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks, because those two comedic geniuses have dinner together almost every night, and they sit in lazy boy chairs with TV trays in front of the television. And yeah, that's hubby and I. We actually have surrendered during these times, these trying times, and we have TV trays in our living room right now, and we have dinner on our TV trays. And usually we watch Family Feud. We were watching the news, and the news was so depressing that we watch Family Feud now. So we just, you know what? It's got to make you feel good when you have to say, "Show me potato salad." it just it'll cheer you up. So I started looking through my books to decide, all right, what should I get started on? And I actually found a book that I had already put into a basket and was going to get started on a while back. And I think I actually have a video where I get to work on this because the cover needed so much cleaning. And it came up beautifully, especially this is a really old book. I cannot find a date of publication for it, but the dedication inside says presented to Harry Young from his Sunday school teachers, Sister Seton, July 9th, 1899. So that means it's older than 1899. And you can certainly tell the papers are very, very, well, they're crackable. I won't be able to use, see how you can fold them and they just split. I'll use some of them by adhering them to other paper or cardstock, but there's no illustrations in it. It's just a text block, but it's gorgeous color. The aging around the edge is really, really pretty. It's a nice brown rather than sort of an orangey color. So it's such a nice size. I really, really love the size of this book because although it is, that's 4 3/8 by 6. But look at that. It's got some good girth there. 1 inch. So that's nice. This morning my husband said, "What are you doing today?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going up." He can't seem to say studio, and he keeps calling it my spittoon. And he says, "Are you gonna go spend the day up in your spittoon?" Yeah, and I've surrendered to it now. I just say, "Yeah, I'm going up to my spittoon." So anyhow, so he said, "What are you doing up in your spittoon today?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna start I finished Harriet, and I'm going to start on a new one." I said, and I said, Harriet was very ephemera intensive. Lots of research, lots of what's the word I'm looking for? where you gather your ephemera and it's all nicely. I know some of you are screaming. Can you say it louder? Because like librarians do it and that, like compilating your ephemera together to. Anyhow, it was quite intensive. And I said to Hubs this morning, I said, I think I feel like doing a naked journal. And the look he shot me is he said, all right, what are you getting into now with this journaling thing? So I had to explain to him what a naked journal is and what a nearly naked journal is. And this beautiful little book, it's just calling out to me to be just filled with beautiful old papers and maybe a few little Victorian type illustrations, because it's A Child's History of England by Charles Dickens. So it's calling out to me to just keep the interior simple for lots of writing, especially because it's a nice size. It's portable for journal writers. So the first thing we've got to do is gut it. It's not worth. I very much doubt this is a first edition. I really do. I did a little bit of research online, and it has been published and republished and then published again and over and over and over. And I'm really not concerned that I'm cutting up a first edition. Although I do find it interesting that it's considered a child's history of England, because I don't know what child would sit down and just read through this. This is probably even too complicated for me. Oh, I like this. Many of the outrages were committed in drunkenness. Drunken rioters were careful to steal nothing. Oh my. All right, so let's get this. Oh, there's some more notes somebody's written to themselves back here. I like when you can find original things, so we'll put you back in. It's, as you can see here, it's literally crumbling. Crumbling in my hand. So this beautiful little book is just calling to be resurrected and useful again. And I am here to answer the call. Come on. So my mom's doing fine. She loved the facts that I sent to her. Apparently she's been showing everyone. Have you seen the picture of my daughter and my cat? My daughter takes care of my cat. And apparently it did exactly what I hoped it would do. Because I realized she didn't have a photo of Rusty in her room. And she loves him. So, and I love Rusty too. He does have a personality. I'm telling you, he does. He's very much real, just like with the Velveteen Rabbit. When someone loves you enough, you become real. Rusty is real. So anyhow, yeah, we're a little bit worried. I got a notification that one of their workers in the nursing home works at 2 nursing homes in the area, so half time at both homes. And at the other nursing home, this worker was exposed to COVID and didn't know it until after they had finished their shift at my mother's nursing home. So they're really on watch right now, really on guard. And so far so good. That was a few days ago they notified me of that. And I got to tell you, it is nerve-wracking. We have a nursing home about 2 hours away from where I live. And last week they lost 11 of their residents to coronavirus. It's just utterly deadly to the elderly. Absolutely deadly. And my mother, in addition to being 93, has COPD. She has bronchiectasis, which is basically bronchiectasis is a fancy scientific name for permanent pneumonia. So if she gets this, that'll be it. So fingers crossed, only because, you know what, if my mother was suffering every day, I would be very much at peace, oh, it's her time to go. And certainly I do know that whenever she goes, it is her time. I mean, none of us know. But she just seems to be having a little second chance. Now that her dementia has calmed down, she seems to be having a second chance at really experiencing just daily happiness. She's very happy every day. And she wasn't always happy. There we go. I want to save that. I'm going to do something with the dedication that has the date there. She wasn't always happy with the dementia at first. When it first started developing and she knew something wasn't right, it tormented her. She thought people were stealing from her. She thought, people were breaking in and changing her TV channel. She, anyhow, or her frustration when she'd be trying to use her TV remote as a telephone. She didn't understand why this phone wasn't working. And you can imagine, it would be like living in your own personal episode of The Twilight Zone. And it was hard on her. She actually had quite a few years where she was very, very angry, very unpleasant, very unpredictable. And it was very hard on everyone. And it was very heartbreaking. But of course, it was hardest on her because she thought she was losing her mind, which she was. She's over that hill now, and she is so at peace and so happy, and so every day is, if she's got a cup of tea, it's a wonderful day. So part of me feels like, gosh, it would just be a shame if Mother Nature decided that coronavirus, I guess, if she's gonna leave this planet, do it in a big splash so that someday her little ancestors can say, well, we lost Nana to the big coronavirus. That would certainly be saying something. But you know what? Why borrow trouble? She's doing fine. Fortunately, she actually is not a huggy, feely, kissy kind of person. So she really comes in very little contact with people. And she also, I want one of these center ones. She also, because she's in a wheelchair, other than her own wheelchair, she touches very few surfaces. So that's a bonus because she's hopefully not touching infected surfaces. Now, a drawback is she is always touching her nose because of the bronchiectasis. She's blowing and wiping her nose all the time. So her hands are up to her nose all the time. She does use tissues, but if she doesn't have a tissue, she's like many of us. She'll just wipe her nose, and so that's a worry. But the staff there are doing marvelous. They're being marvelous with them. So, you know what? All we can do is all we can do. And in the meantime, she's doing great. It just wouldn't surprise me if that woman sees her hundreds. It really wouldn't. I do genealogy. I love researching our family tree. And oh, for Pete's sake, all these crumbs are going to drive me out of my mind. And from what I have found in researching her family tree, she's now the person who has lived the longest. I guess other than if our tree goes back to Methuselah, he'll win. But you know what? Outside of Methuselah, I think my mom is the winner. She certainly outlived all of her siblings, younger and older. She's the middle child. She has an older brother and sister and a younger brother and sister, and she outlived all four of them. And partly I think it's because she was the only one who never, ever, ever smoked. So, and that ended up doing her good. All right, so what I've done here while I was yammering on about my mom, I got out one spread from out of the actual book because I'm going to, usually I would use this as my template for cutting my papers. And oh, one of the little guys in the yard, the neighborhood yard back there, it must really be warm out now because he's in a t-shirt and shorts. Wow. Anyhow, normally I would just use this as my template, but I can tell this is going to start cracking and breaking and splitting. So I need to make one. I need some paper. Hold on. I'm going to find some paper in a color that I know I'd probably never use. And I have lots of that because, of course, I get it all from thrift stores. There we go. And that will make this easier to find. Now, I usually don't make my pages as wide as what the original text block pages were. So I think I'm going to bring it in about 1/8 of an inch. Pencil. There we go. Okay. So I want it to be, let's see how wide you are. So you're actually a teensy bit more than 8 inches wide. I'm wondering if I want it 7 3/4. I think I do. I think I do. You're 5 3/4, and I don't mind it being the exact height. My niece phoned me this morning, desperate on how to do a home haircut. And I can see how that's going to start creeping into this quarantine. The essential workers that are going to be walking around feeling shaggy. You might have noticed me grabbing these. I have a lot of off-cut papers from other books or books, journals where I've prepared myself way too many pages when I finally got the signatures all folded and seeing if they fit in. And of course, then I realized I was just way over guesstimating how many pages I was going to put into the book. And because of that, I find that I have a basket and I just toss them all in. And now I am going to raid that basket and fill this little beauty up with offcuts. And I think that'll be nice. I'm trying to decide, and fortunately I don't have to decide right away, but I'm trying to decide whether I want to make this one lacy or not, or whether I want to keep it just simple and elegant, because I think that cover is just so simple and elegant. I just love that little hint of turquoise blue. I hope it's coming through on the camera because it's just so pretty and it just feels nice. Now I am going to, because it's a nice day, I will be turning off the camera and going outside and sealing this just to give it a little extra protection. I mean, it's at least 120 years old, 121 years old. So it's going to need a little bit of TLC. And then I'm going to need to see about what kind of fortification. That curve still feels very nice and very firm. These areas are the areas, these little shoulders here are the areas that take the wear and tear when you're working on really super old books. So I think I'm really going to have to give them a bit of TLC. So I think that's going to be my template. Let's take a look. So it looks like see how it looks like it's going to be short, but it's really not, because it's going to come out a bit. Where's my block? You know what? Because that is looking... No. Catherine, don't second guess yourself. Because when I put my refurbished text block into it, it will not fit inside there as snugly as this original one does. It just won't, because I'm not going to be using that kind of book press or the hammer that they use. Like, they purposefully, see how that's sort of mushroom shaped? They purposefully hammer those into that shape to force it to fit better and more snugly in. And I'm just not at that stage in my bookmaking. And I don't think I ever will be. I just like it for the fun. All right. So yeah, no, you know what? I think I'm okay. Now, you know what else I want to do? I'm actually hoping maybe to find some pretty paper. And of course, with a beautiful book by Charles Dickens, I've got to pull out some of these, right? Oh, sorry. I bashed my stand. I can hear World War I going on in the basement. My husband rented that, is it 1917, that movie? So I can hear it down there exploding and booming and roaring. So, oh, that's pretty. He's enjoying that very much. I'm trying to decide whether I can watch that movie or not. I find the older I get, the more sensitive I'm getting to movies. And I'm worried that it would be really upsetting. My grandfather served in World War I. Yes, I'm that old. He served in France, and I have his papers from when he served in France, and he lived through a nightmare over there. And yeah, I like that one. I'm just not sure that I already know what a nightmare it was, and I've heard that this movie is quite spectacular in making you feel like you're really there. I think I like that one. Let me take a quick look. I don't think I want... These are all Art Deco. I don't think I want those. Art Nouveau. I don't think I want those. They're too big for such a delicate little book. Oh, another Art Nouveau. Oh, I kind of like the birds with the flowers. Oh, the squirrels! I remember the journal I made with the squirrels in the front. Cockatiel. Cute. Oh, this one's got hummingbirds. Oh. Where's the cover? I really like these hummingbirds. I really like those hummingbirds. Are they hummingbirds or is it a different kind of bird? No, I think it's a little hummingbird. And that looks like Queen Anne's lace. Let's put you aside. Oh, we got William Morris here. No. Oh, that was from my Catholic all sorts. Reminiscing over end papers. You know, you're a junk journaler when you reminisce over end papers. Those ones are already ready to go. But that doesn't. This is what happens when you trim that edge too soon and then you find out that you've trimmed it too short. Because these were going to be the end papers for the first Catholic all sorts book that I made. The blue one. And that's what happens. I felt cocky and thought I can do it. You know what? I'm looking in the light. I'm looking better at the light. And that's slightly green. And these are sort of periwinkle blue. So as much as I love you, hummingbirds, no. Now I'm just worried that this pattern is just too big for such a delicate little book. No, I think I'm going, but this is too sparse. What have I got on my, 26, 27 minutes. Oh, jeepers. I don't know. I have a few other sources for books that I could use for end papers. It's kind of pretty, especially if I use the forget-me-nots right there. Really like that. See, if I use this one, I'm really going to have to use up 2 sheets because I'm going to just want to use that. And then I end up with this big blank spot. On the other hand, what are you saving it for, right? But now that I look at this, I do like this one. And it looks quite Victorian, which is Mr. Dickens' era. And I like those little flowers and those little forget-me-nots. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the one. All right. Well, you know what? I'm looking. I can see I'm at 28 minutes here. So I think I've chosen. I think this is the one. And I think I'm going to turn off the camera for now. I already have my middle fabric, and that looks nice with that. That all matches. All right, I'm going to turn off the camera for now, and I'm going to see if I can get some tidying up down here because I already cannot see my desktop. So thanks. Thank you so much for hanging around with me while I cut open while I cut open this little baby and start working on giving it new life. I hope you're all staying safe, staying healthy, and keeping your spirits up during this time. We're going to get through this. And just like our ancestors who survived Spanish flu, we will live to tell the tale of Coronaville. Talk to you later. Bye.